Welcome to Coffee with Chaos. My name is James, and here's my coffee. And believe it or not, behind me is chaos, although you can't see it because it's below your line of vision. But to prove that it really is chaos, yeah, there's chaos down there, trust me. Yeah, tonight's show is good. I've been looking forward to it all week. But let's go ahead and say hi to Patrick Murphy. Always glad to have you stop in. And whether you just come in and leave again, or if you stay for a while, it's all good. We appreciate you. So let's try this new thing out they've got. It says show comments on stage. So we're going to see what that does. And if it doesn't work the way I think it should, I'll turn it off. So what have I got tonight? I've got the comics that I pressed that I showed you last week. I've got my PC comic collection. That's important. I've got some new comics that I got from Patrick Murphy. This guy right here. He sent me some I paid for, and I think he sent me a few that I didn't know about, which is always good. I like that. That's a good thing. And I'm not doing anything old because I have my PC comics that I'm showing. So there's not going to be any kind of lost and found stuff. I have not yet seen the Superman movie. I'm going to. Actually, Michael Mayron sent me money to go see it. And I was going to go see it on either Sunday or Monday, but I had someone drop some comics and some other stuff off that he wanted me to check out and press. I don't press comics unless they're clean, which means I had to clean them, but I had to be very careful while I was cleaning them because some of them are autographed. Now, I'm not going to show those. Absolutely not. When someone sends me, or if somebody sends them to me or drops them off with me and they want them cleaned and pressed or just pressed or whatever, I'm not going to show those. Now, the guy that dropped these off with me, I'm sure he doesn't care if I show them or not, but I just think it's better that I don't. Some of them are fairly valuable, but some of those signatures you're just not going to find. And I'll tell you the signatures. He's got Bernie Wrightson signatures. He's got Neil Adams signatures. And I'm just not going to show those comics. One of them is an iconic comic, too, and that really made it better. And then one of them is actually a print that I'm pressing. And I've had to press it 3 times already to get it to where it's about right. Now it's sitting in my book press to finish it up. So I won't be showing any comics that I'm going to be pressing over the next week tonight because those are taking up my time. In addition to that, grass had to be cut, and it had to be cut. And I gotta cut some more because it grows so fast after that rain we had, and the ground is still saturated, so it's still growing like crazy. That's true. It was an A-okay, and I do appreciate it. And I'm going to try to get there tomorrow and watch it. The problem is it's not being shown in my local theater. So in order for me to see it, I'm going to have to drive 40 miles there and back. And that's the other reason why I haven't seen it yet. So like I said, I'm going to try to get over there tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. But I do intend on seeing it, and if it's anything like all the reviews that I've seen, and I've seen a lot of them, and I don't care about spoilers. Spoilers mean nothing to me. Spoilers don't spoil the movie for me. I'll let you know that right now. Spoilers don't spoil a book for me. because there's a journey of watching it that you're going to get, whether you know the ending or not. So that's why I don't care about spoilers. They don't bother me one way or the other. That doesn't mean I will spoil it for other people. So now that I've said that, and I'm going to give you a preview of what I plan on dropping Friday morning. Okay. I've finally finished this video. Not quite finished it, but I've almost finished this video. And I'm going to go ahead and give you a preview of what it's about. Some of you may remember this, some of you may not, but the comic is done. So that's what I will be. It's all put back together. It's pressed. It's cleaned. I need to put it back in the cold press for maybe another day, and then I'll go ahead and finish the outro to the video, and I can release it on Friday. Haley, you're just in time. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you what I pressed that I showed last week, and we're going to start off with one that I said I was going to press, but it wasn't part of that, and that's Wasteland #2. Which is going to Haley as an A-OK. It turned out really nice. So, yeah, I'll be taping the flap down and boxing all her stuff out, probably send it out tomorrow or Friday, one of those 2 days. So she'll be having that and the other stuff that I have for her pretty quick. Coffee time. And as you can see, right there, there's the chats. So, yeah, I kind of like the way that's going. So the first one that I mentioned was this Cerebus #27. Again, it was water stained, but it came out pretty nicely. I can take any of these out of the bag if you want. All you have to do is let me know, and I'll take it out of the bag and show it to you, because I haven't sealed the bags yet. This one probably didn't really need a press. All I did was run a cotton round over it and pressed it. It didn't need to be cleaned. And if I had cleaned it, because it's Charlton, I might have removed some of the ink. Didn't want to do that because the inks are so bright. This one is going to go up on eBay. And we've got Jughead #267. Of course, that's going back in my collection. And it turned out pretty nicely, too. Felix, always glad to see you. Jackson Roy, Kirk, good to see you, buddy. So, yeah, that one's going back in my collection. Now, this next one, I didn't realize it, but it did have some water damage. It was kind of crinkly. Turned out really nicely, although it's a low-grade copy, but it did turn out nice. And that's Boris Karloff, Tales of Mystery. I forgot what number it is. So, yeah. Just here browsing. Glad you could stop in. So, yeah, I like the way that turned out. It had a minor spine roll, which is pretty much gone. Here we have Thongor 22, Creatures on the Loose 22. This one is going to Michael Mayrind. He claimed it, and it's going to go in his box, along with 23, 24, 26, 27, 28, 29. I think there's only one that he's not getting, or maybe number 26. It's over here somewhere. Yeah, I'm not sending him this one, which is my duplicate of 26, because as you can see, it has a mold problem. So if I can get the mold off, that's a pretty drastic one, probably the worst one I will have tried. If I can get the mold off of it, then I will go ahead and send it to him. And if I can't get the mold off of it, I'll burn it. That's all there is to it. Because I don't want to take a chance on someone getting sick from mold. This is the Daredevil 77 that I pressed. Like the way it turned out. Of course, this is a part of my collection. And it turned out really nice. Very happy with that one. We've got Wendy, number 79. This one, I don't know if I want to keep it or if I want to sell it. So I'm still thinking about that. Haven't decided one way or the other. I don't even have to hit all of these because you can see them right here. I like it. So, yeah, this one turned out nicely too. I'll probably end up selling it. Maybe on eBay, I don't know. Then we have my copy of, well, I don't know if this is my copy, but it is a copy. I think it's my copy of Nexus #1. Volume 2, #1. The first, but the first one was black and white magazine size. This is the first one of the actual comic size. Happy with that. Then we've got Men of War #25, DC Comics. So I'm not getting rid of that. You want to keep it? I don't know if I want to keep it or not. I want to keep every comic, but I have a few too many. I did a rough guesstimate on how many I have based on the number of boxes, short boxes and long boxes. I counted long box. A long box is 2 short boxes, and I figured 125 comics per box, and I came out with 25,750 comic books. I need to sell a couple. This is Classics Illustrated Junior, The Magic Fountain. This one is from 1969, so it's definitely a reprint. Was it 69? No, this one was 64, excuse me. The 69 one was 25 cents. So that's what I showed last week and said that I was going to press, and I pressed them. Now I'm working on those other comics that was dropped off. So I won't have any pressed comics to show you unless I just decide to show you some out of the blue. Next, let's go ahead and take a look at these. I bought these off some guy off the internet, and I didn't include these in my count, by the way, so probably have more than I thought. I probably have more comics than I thought anyway. And 99% of these, I think there's 2 that I already have, so I won't be putting those 2 in my collection. Everything else is probably going to go in my collection. We've got from 1988, American Flag, number 48, or 49. Stick these over here. We've got from 1956, April 19th, Treasure Chest. This was a Christian-based comic thing. It has comics in it, but also has other things in it. And I've got quite a few. This has some staining on it. I might try to get some of that staining off. I haven't decided yet. So we'll see. We've got Star Spangled War Stories, number 116. I didn't have this, so very happy to get that. And of course, 60s goodness all the way. You can tell because it's weird. This next one, it has pencil marks all over the cover. I'm going to try to get some of those off. It's got some staining on the cover. This is a Dell 4-color comic, number 547, published in April of 1954, which is when I was born. So even if I didn't want it, I need to keep this because it's a birthday book. Birthday book are comics that come out during the month and year you were born. So yeah, I got to keep this one. And I'll try to make it look a little better. And I will show you this again after I work on it. I might work on it this week. I don't know. Yeah, Patrick, you think you may know these? You're right. Now, this is American flag number 2, but if you notice, it's spelled with a K and not a C. And it's not volume 2, it's volume 1. Go figure. It's a different take that Howard Chaykin took on the character. So happy to get that. And there's a bunch of them in here too. There's number 3 and number 4. And these were from 1989, I believe. Nope, 1988. Number 5. Number 6. Number 7. Number 8. And with number 9, we go into 1989. These would all be considered Copper Age comics. And that is number 12. Happy to get them. I've noticed something, though, that Patrick never sends me the number 1s. He'll send me 2 up, but not the number 1. Yeah, the number 6 cover is pretty awesome. This one? Yeah, that one's pretty awesome. But you'll find another one, so it's not a big deal. Yeah, exactly. It's a tradition. And it's not just a family tradition. I think it's a collector's tradition. Does that mean anytime I run across a November 1989 comic, I have to send it to you? Maybe next week. Maybe next week I'll do a coffee sale. Actually, I lied. He does sometimes sends me number 1s, like this Whisper number 1 from First Comics. And number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5. Number 6. Number 7. Number 8. Then he skips a couple of weeks. Number 13. 14. 19. 20. 26. 27. I imagine this is another one that he thought about keeping. Number 28. And number 32. Whisper went a lot longer than what I thought it did. I thought it was like, maybe 24 issues. It turns out it went to 32. And then Whisper number 1, the original Whisper number 1. And I have 3 or 4 copies of this now. and number 2. And those were the only 2 issues that were published by Capital. I didn't have a number 2, so I'm real happy about that. Here's American Flag number 40, spelled with a C, so this is the real American flag. And number 45. And this next one surprised me a little bit, so because it's so rare when I find this title from the 80s or from the 70s that I don't have, and even from the late 60s that I don't have. So when he said he had this, it just blew me away because I didn't have it. And I have pretty close to all of them from number like 160 up. So when I find one, it's a surprise to me. Now these next ones, these next 11, well, I got one more here. And it's this one. This one is actually, I have, this is my second copy of this one. So. What, that's Superman? I'm glad you decided not to. Like I said, these are reprints of the strips from the newspapers. So I was real happy to get these. This is Cosmic Heroes number 6. And as you can see, it's in that style from the 40s and 50s. Buck Rogers, number 7. Number 8. Number 9. Number 10. And number 11. Now, I don't know if you know this or not, Patrick, but I have 3 or 4 of the Buck Rogers Big Little books. So, yeah, Buck Rogers is a character that I like. But that's it. That's what I got from him. And, of course, I paid him for them. So, that's it wasn't free. But it's good anyway. This one, so these 2 I already have copies of, so I will probably compare them to the ones that I have, and I'll keep whichever ones are best. And the other 2 will go in my pile of comics to sell, which, like I said, that's probably going to be next week. I do a sale on a Wednesday night. And I'll do that rather than showing something else. I'm seriously considering showing my Gold Key Tarzan collection. Not my Gold Key, but my Dell Tarzan collection. I don't have them all. I have a pretty good chunk of them. So I might show that, not next week, because like I said, I'm probably going to do a sale next week. So let's get to the main part. My Atlas comics. I don't need any of the comic book sized Atlas comics. I have them all. And for a while, people thought I literally had them all because I, like one guy, he said, yeah, I need this and this and this. And I said, okay, here's how much I want for them. Now you're not going to get my best copies, but you'll get, my like my second best copies. So they're a little lower grade for me. When he got them, he was shocked because they ended up being the best copies in his collection for the PC or for the Atlas comics. And the way that happened was I had nearly a complete collection, but I was missing 4. I needed Vicky 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I saw somebody that had them, but I had to buy his whole collection. So I did. And his whole collection was literally a whole collection. So that's how I ended up getting almost 2 full sets of Atlas comics. And I've since sold a bunch of them. I have a few duplicates left, but not very many. So we're going to start off with Barbarians #1. And this was published in 1975, and it is the, I don't know if this was the first appearance of Ironjaw or not. And then we have, but that was a one-shot. They only did one of that. Then we have A Blazing Battle Tales with Sergeant Hawk. And again, this was a one-shot from 1975. And that's when they published these, was 75, 76. Then we have The Brute #1 from 1975. And these are all high grade. High grade being 8.5 or above. Most of them are 9, 9.2, 9.4, 9.6. Probably a couple of 9.8s. I'm sure some of the ones that I would grade 9.8, if CGC got a hold of them, they'd say, "Oh, that's a 10." It's not. This is The Brute #2. These have never been cleaned. They've never been pressed. They're just sitting in Mylar in my collection. #3. And that was the last issue. There were only 3 issues of The Brute. My fingers are getting stiff. I was repairing a screen door and painting it earlier today. So I'm doing a lot of different things. We've got The Cougar #1. And I actually liked this series from 1975. And #2. And that was it. There was only 2. I think this next one is a one-shot. I might be wrong. Yeah. The next one is also a one-shot. Demon Hunter. We've got The Destructor #1, 1975. #2. #3. And #4. And now one of the, probably one of the best comics that they did. Not the best, but one of the best. This is Fright #1, Son of Dracula. Just awesome book. If you get a chance to pick one of these up, do it. But don't think you're going to get mine, because I ain't selling it. It took me too long to collect these. We have The Grim Ghost #1. Number 2. Number 3. And another one shot, Hands of the Dragon, because, in 1975, everybody was coming out with some kind of kung fu thing. The cover everybody's been waiting for, Iron Jaw, number 1 by Neil Adams. And Iron Jaw, number 2. Who did that cover? I don't have listed who did the cover. I'll be looking all that information up. Iron Jaw, number 3. Pablo Marcus did this cover. And number 4, also Pablo Marcus. And I wish this one didn't have the ink on top, but it does, and I'm not going to worry about it. The Morlock 2001, number 1. And that ink on the top is ink bleed from the distribution, newsstand distribution, where they would spray the top of the comic with this ink so that they would know when to pull it. And it was color coded. It's an Al Milgrom cover. The World's Strangest Superhero. And here's number 2, Morlock number 2. And then they changed the title to Morlock 2001 Midnight Men. That's number 3. And then we go to another one. Phoenix, number 1. And number 2, where he battles an army of aliens. There's number 3. And in number 4, they changed his costume. And I didn't like the change, but there was nothing I could do about it. And they also changed it to Phoenix, the Protector. And I really don't like that costume. I liked his original better. Next up, we have Planet of Vampires. This is one everybody needs in their collection. It's just awesome. Broderick and Adams. And then we have Planet of Vampires #2. I need to bring more over. Next, we have Planet of Vampires #3. Police Action featuring Lomax, NYPD #1. No, I didn't realize there was a movie for it. Probably not the same. Then we have Police Action #2 featuring Lomax and Luke Malone, Manhunter. Police Action #3. Next we have, I believe this is another, no it isn't, this one had more than one. This is Savage Combat Tales #1. And #2. And these, you don't see these as often. War comics in the mid-70s were starting to go down. They didn't sell quite as well. So you don't see these as often as some of the others. Then we have, and that was the third one. Here's the Scorpion #1, which I like the way he's dressed here. And then we have the Scorpion #2. And again, I like the way he's dressed. And then we have #3. And for some unknown reason, they decided to put him in a costume. And that totally ruins it for me. I liked him better in that, the pants and the jacket. Putting him in a costume to me was stupid. Here we have Tales of Evil #1. Tales of Evil #2. The Bog Beast. Because everybody needs a bog beast or a swamp thing or a man thing or a heap or something. We have Tales of Evil #3 featuring Man Monster. Coffee time. Got Target #1. Again, dressed like a civilian. It works for me. But, they can't leave it well enough alone, so they change it to John Target Manstalker and put him in a costume. Which doesn't work for me. #3. Next is the story is pretty good, but I'm just not a fan of the way the character looks. And we're talking about Tiger Man. There's number 1. And they tried to make him look a little better, but it didn't help. Number 2. And number 3. Next up, Vicky, number 1. These next 4 are some of the hardest ones to find in high grade. Number 2. Number 3. And all of these were actually reprints. And number 4. This is the hardest one to find in any grade. I put mine at very fine denier mint. It's just a beautiful copy. We have Weird Suspense featuring Tarantula. Weird Suspense number 2. Weird Suspense number 3. We have Western Action number 1. Kid Cody Gunfighter and the Comanche Kid. This is yeah. It's a one-shot. And of course, everybody needs a barbarian, so we have Wolf the Barbarian. Wolf the Barbarian number 2. Oh, you might like this one. Wolf the Barbarian number 3. And finally, Wolf the Barbarian number 4. And that is all of the Atlas comic books. They were all printed in 1975 over about a 4 to 6 month period. And then it just disappeared. They couldn't compete. They wanted to, but they couldn't. It showed up just in time for me to be finished. So next week, like I said, next week we'll do a sale. And the week after that, if you want, I'll show my Dell Comics Tarzan. I think I have a couple of the 4-color ones, but I'm not going to swear to that. I do know that I have a number 1. Yes. Hey, better late than never. We don't mind that at all. So that's, unless you have something else you'd rather me show. I think that's what's going to be 2 weeks from now. And like I said, next week, I'll do a sale next week, and I think that yeah, well they're reprints of another company, I think from Tower Comics. Uh, I'd have to check on that, but I think all of the stories from Vicky are actually from a Tower comic from the early 60s. So I don't even know if they had the rights to publish. But yeah, Vicky definitely has an Archie vibe. And the fact that there were only 4 of them makes me very happy because got them. I got my first Atlas comic around 1985 because I joined the Army in 1976, and I had a period of time there where I wasn't buying comics during late 1975 and 76. So I missed out on these. And not only that, they weren't being sent to my area. So that's another reason why I missed out on it. But around 1985 is when I picked up my first one. And then not sure what happened to it, but I kept it in the back of my mind. And then when I started seriously collecting again after I got out of the Army and started getting a little bit of disposable income, once I got a job again, I started seriously collecting, and I picked up a couple of issues. I think Iron Jaw was the first one. The Neil Adams Iron Jaw cover was the first one I picked up, and I thought, yeah, I want some of these. And then I discovered that there were only like 3 or 4 of each one published, and I went, yeah, I want all of these. And it took me until I think 2000 to finally get them all. So it took me close to 30 years to get all of them. So yeah, but I have them now, and that's good. I have some of the magazines, but not all of them. And some of those are really, really rare, really expensive, and even the ones that aren't that rare are really expensive. There's one that's considered one of the rarest uh, comic type or magazine type black and white comics. It's considered the rarest, and you aren't going to touch that one. If you can find it for sale, you're looking at 500 to 1,000. That's if you can find one. Personally, I had a coverless copy for a little while. Unfortunately, the flood didn't do it in its favors. And I'm not talking about the flood from last year. I'm talking about the flood from 2007. It was like a slab. Uh, it was just totally blocked. I couldn't separate the pages at all, so I ended up tossing it. And that was unfortunate because I've never seen another copy for sale. Very, very difficult to find. And I can't even think of the name of it off the top of my head. But one day I'll have all the magazines too, but it's not high on my list of priorities. But then a lot of times people say something is rare, and then the market will end up being flooded with them because it's not rare at all. And there are comics that are not rare at all that for some unknown reason are just astronomically priced. And there are literally hundreds of thousands of them out there. 2 in particular I can think of is, I think it's Hulk 340 with Wolverine on the cover with the claws that show the reflection of the Hulk. That one is just, to me, that's way overpriced. There are literally hundreds of thousands of them around. There's more of those probably than there are comic book collectors in America. And yet, it's absurdly priced because it's a popular cover. The other one is, of course, Spider-Man 300, which is way overpriced in my opinion. But it's, despite there being hundreds of thousands of them out there, it's one of those comics that people are willing to shell out huge amounts of money for, even though there's tons of them out there. The problem is the tons of them that are out there are generally in the hands of dealers and not collectors. And if they're in the hands of the dealers, they're not going to let them go cheap. They're going to keep the price up. So, yeah, you're right. You did get a bunch of them from me. Not that many, but you got some from me. Uh, and those were my low grade comics, my low grade copies. Uh, Gotta love low grade comics that are high grade for everybody else. So, but that's the nature of the beast. What low grade to one person may not be low grade to another. It may be high grade to another. Uh, Low grade for me is meaning it isn't as good as the copy that I'm keeping. Just means it's a lower grade. It doesn't mean it's low grade as in it's a good copy or a very good copy or something like that. And that's how I determine that. It's not, a lot of times when I'm talking about comics, I tell somebody, well, this is a lower grade copy. And I'm referring it to the one in my collection. The one in my collection is high grade. This is a lower grade copy. It doesn't mean it's low grade. It doesn't mean it's mid grade. It just means it's not as good as the one I'm keeping. And that happens with a lot of things. So as a consequence, on comics that I'm going to sell, I don't generally refer to them to as lower grade copies. I just say they're not as nice as the one I'm going to keep. Or I'll say it's high grade, it's mid grade, it's low grade. It's rare when you'll get me to say it's a 5.0, it's a 7.0, it's a 9.3 or 9.4 or 9.2. I generally won't do that. I'll just say it's a high grade, mid grade, or low grade. And then if you want, I can tell you what that is. I have it right here. To me, high grade means it's very fine plus or above. So that would be an 8.5 to a 10 is high grade. 3.5, very good minus, to 7 point or to 8.0 is mid grade. And that's very good minus, like I said, 3.5 to 8.0. And then 0.5 to 3.0 is low grade for me. And now there are comics that are lower than that. You can have a 0.3 and you can have a 0.1. Those are generally comics that don't have covers, or they're missing, or it's just a cover and no interior, or it's a comic that's missing pages and it might be missing the cover and missing pages. You find a lot of old golden age comics like that. And to me, those are no grade. I'm not going to put a grade on them at all. They're, in my eyes, not really collectible. Would I buy a page, an Action Comics #1 page, a single page? No. Would I buy a Superman #1 single page? No. I want the whole book. Well, not Action Comics #1. I've given up on that. I've passed that up too many times in my life to worry about trying to get a copy now. The fact that I've held it in my hands multiple times, that I've looked through it before, and I'm not talking about facsimile, talking about the actual Action Comics #1. And I've considered buying it and actually had the money to, and not decided not to pull the trigger, is enough for me that I don't have to own that comic. I have I have reprints of it, and I'm happy with that. Superman #1, on the other hand, if I got a chance to buy that, I'm going to do it. Not because I want to get all of the Superman, although that would be a nice thing to have, but because that is a comic book I have never physically seen. I know they exist. There were 3 or 4 printings of it. I've never owned it. I've never seen it. I've never held it. So if I have a chance, I want to buy it. I'll sell off all my stock and buy it. So yeah, that's one of those things. It's just one of those comics that I want to own that comic book before I die, because I've never seen a copy in real life. Now I have a reprint of it. It's not the same. Yeah, I would like to see that, but yeah, the Smithsonian is a little far away from me now. It used to be, hop on the bus and go down to DC and do it when I lived in Northern Virginia, but I don't live there anymore. And don't know if I would if I could, because it's really expensive there now. Although, to be honest with you, if I had a chance to buy the house that my grandparents owned in Alexandria, Virginia, I would do it. Just because I have fond memories of that house. So, I've seen most key comics. I've seen a Batman #1. I've seen a Detective 27. Didn't get to touch that one, but I've seen it. I've seen Marvel Mystery #1 with Human Torch, Submariner. I've seen most of those. I've seen most of the key comics that people talk about from the Golden Age. Haven't owned most of them, but I have seen them. Some of them I've handled, some of them I haven't. I've seen a copy of the very first appearance of Archie. Passed it by, wasn't interested in it. It was only like $20. That was back in the 70s. But I passed it by because I wasn't buying Archie comics at the time. I was this superhero focused guy that, yeah, I only want superhero comics and Bugs Bunny, and that's it. I don't want anything else. Yeah, there were, I'm sure some of them were part of the Mile High collection. Not all of them, though. Some of those Golden Age comics that are in pristine condition are not graded because they belong to and I believe most of what was in the Smithsonian display or event were from the Library of Congress, which has probably the largest Golden Age comic book collection, period. Because the only way to get it copywritten was to send a copy to the Library of Congress at the time. I don't need to do that anymore. So I suspect that that's where a lot of those came from, was the Library of Congress. And what happens with those is they're filed away and put away, filed away, and never seen again. And as things go up in value, the comics that are in that collection, as they went up in value, they weren't just going to let anybody look at. Well, my hand stopped stiffening up after I stopped showing comic books, which is a good thing. I don't know what happened there. Probably ate too much sugar. I had 2 ice cream cones today, and I shouldn't have done that. But yeah, I had to treat myself once in a while. I think that's going to be it for this week. Next week, like I said, I'm going to do a comic sale. I'll have that, it'll be Coffee with Chaos number 36, comic book sale. I will show a few things. And like I said, Friday, if you want to know what this is all about, Friday, you can watch the final episode, and I'll refer back to the previous ones. It turned out really well, and you can't even see where I reinforced the cover back there. So watch for that. Friday, I'll be releasing that. It'll be on a regular video. It'll be on one of my tools of the trade video, because I introduce a couple of tools that I use that I don't always use. And of course, this being one of them. And I will also mention something else that you can use in place of that. But that's enough hints on that. But that's going to be it for tonight. Hope everybody had a good week. If you want to support me, you can be here for the next week to buy some comics from me, or you can always, go down in the description below and buy me a cup of coffee. That's always appreciated too. Have yourself a great week. Recommend this to your friends. Make sure everybody comes and watches me. I need the views, and I need more subscriptions. I think I finally hit 800 subs. When I hit 1,000, I'm going to give something away, but I'm not telling you what it is. Not yet. But it's going to be good. So we'll see you next week. Take care, everybody, and watch my video on Friday. Good night, and bye.